Welcome back to Tipping Point. I'm your host, Kara McKinney. I've been so busy these last few months that I haven't been able to research and write my long, in-depth historical spotlight pieces like I used to. So to make up for that, I have an interesting author here tonight. Gavin O'Donnell's book was just honored as a 2023 top notable independently published novel in the Shelf Unbound Best Indie Book competition. It's titled The Execution, Life, and Times of Patrick O'Donnell, and it makes a great Christmas gift for those still looking for a unique and compelling read this winter season as you snuggle up with some hot cocoa and a good book. Now, at this point, you might be wondering if there's any relation between the two O'Donnells. I'll leave that for my next guest to explain, but I will say that growing up, Gavin's family his home had a portrait of Patrick O'Donnell hanging on the wall many years after Patrick was hung in 1883 for murder. Joining us now to discuss all the way from Wales in the United Kingdom is the author himself, Gavin O'Donnell. Thanks for being here tonight, Gavin.
Hi, Kara. Thanks for having me.
Great. So first, I guess I have to just ask, is there any relation between you and Patrick O'Donnell?
I'd love to say there is, but to the best of my knowledge, there isn't. We had a photo of him on our wall, or a picture of him on our wall, but we had a picture of Michael Collins as well, and Padre Pio, so I'm not related to those either.
No worries, no worries. It seems in some corners, would you say, is he somewhat of a hero or more heroic type figure, would you say, in some parts of Ireland at least?
Yes, he is. There are monuments to him in his hometown of Gweedore. There are monuments, in fact, in Pennsylvania to him in remembrance of him. And he's remembered in various songs. He's an extremely well-known character who was involved in some very, very significant historical events, both in Ireland and in the United States.
And of course, we're going to get to that tonight in this interview. So just assume the audience, because we're American and unfortunately we don't know as much as we should about, history between Ireland and England. We just know bad blood, right? Not exactly the best of friends. A lot of oppression going on over there. A lot of my family came from Ireland in the mid-1800s with the famines, the potato famine that was going on. I know even in the midst of that, when so many were dying of starvation, England was still forcing them to send potatoes and other foods to England. When the people were starving to death, quite literally. So again, some bad blood. But take us to what happened before Patrick O'Donnell and his events. There was, I believe, the Phoenix Park murders that had happened. I think it was blamed on the Invincibles and some of these Irish groups who were going after some English politicians. Then there was a man, James Carey, I believe, who kind of outed them, and then some executions happened. But walk us through the context of what those murders were and what was going on at the time.
Okay, well, Patrick went through a lot in his lifetime, and not least he lived through the potato famine. He immigrated to America, and the whole Phoenix Park event happened towards the end of his life. And what that was, there was, as you mentioned, there was a lot of hostility between the Irish and the English, a lot of oppression by the English on the Irish, and a small group called the Invincibles decided to take it upon themselves to murder a man in Phoenix Park, which is a place in Dublin. And that man happened to be the nephew of the Prime Minister Gladstone. So the leader of the assassination was a man called James Carey. Upon being captured, he immediately turned Queen's evidence, and as a result, 5 of the conspirators hanged. So Carey was absolutely loathed in Ireland as a turncoat and a traitor. He was the most hated man. He was also loathed in England, of course, because he'd murdered one of the highest people, the nephew of Gladstone. He was put on a ship to go to South Africa, and he had the misfortune of encountering Patrick on that same ship. Patrick put 3 bullets in him and killed him, and that's why Patrick was taken back to the United Kingdom and tried and found guilty of murder and sentenced to hang. We meet Patrick first in the book when he's sitting in his cell, feeling a bit sorry for himself, of course, lamenting his experience, but also his entire life. And he then records his life experiences in a series of 26 letters, which the book basically consists of. When I started writing the book, it was about Phoenix Park, but when I did the research, his life was so interesting. I mean, for example, living through the famine. When he immigrated to America, he couldn't go to New York, where he was intending to go to meet with his family who were in Pennsylvania in the coal mines. He went instead to Canada. New York had stopped accepting Irish ships because of typhoid.